Good evening, everyone. This is the Ross Valley Sanitary District meeting on November 19th. And I'm going to call the meeting to order. Is that a motion? No. Roll call, please.
Director Silla? Here. Director Meggs?
Here.
Director Gaffney?
Here.
Director Borstein?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. And Director Kelly's not here. Okay. Can we all please stand and do a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next is to adjourn for closed session. Good evening, folks. We're back from a closed session. And what?
There's nothing to report.
No, there's nothing to report out. So I need an approval of the agenda, please.
I move the agenda as is.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now is number 7, public comment. Is anyone here who would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda currently? No. Okay.
Ask if there's anybody online.
Oh, thank you. Anyone on Zoom online that would like to speak to the district now? Can you see anybody on there?
There's no public comment at this time.
Thank you. All right, next, moving on to number 8, committee and representative report out. Finance committee.
Okay, the finance committee met yesterday, Michael and I, because Doug was absent, and basically we reviewed all of the consent calendar. We reviewed the financial report, and one of the things we noted was that the board members' salaries weren't present. And so that's why you got this supplemental sheet today. And I was down for 4 meetings, and I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I took both of those classes. I think that's it.
You know, I'm short 2 meetings. That's where I'm short 2 meetings. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm always short.
And we're at a low spot of our year. Maybe next month is even lower, but we're okay. We'll get it through. That's why we have reserve funds. And actually, we're in excellent financial condition. The other items that we talked about were the approving the updated salary review, which we have to do by law anytime a salary is changed. And there was one change in salaries, and that was the general manager salary. And then we reviewed the smart cover contract again, and it's about $85,000. It's $89,000. It went up $3,000. That's all, Madam Chairman.
Great, thank you. Okay, next is the North Bay Watershed. We met on November 11th, and we had a presentation on the river otters program. It was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. They actually are predators, which they're so cute, but they're defined as predators. Anyway, her name is Megan, came in and did a presentation of a volunteer group. And actually she's connected with various cities around the country and spoke about how they have recently come back being protected more. And anyway, it was very fun. Then we talked about next year's conference in April. We are looking for guest speakers, very dynamic guest speakers, if you know anybody. And our scholarship and grant money has been awarded. Everybody's excited about it. So I'll have an update maybe next month on when the presentations will be for that. Thank you.
If I can just also add to that, how voracious these little pigs are. And they do a particular thing in Marin County that has not been observed anywhere else, which is they attack and they kill pelicans.
Yeah.
They lost me on pelicans. They come up from underneath, they grab them, they kill them, and then they bring them to shore where it's part of the circle of life. And the coyotes come in and chase the otters away and eat the dead pelicans. So I guess everybody's benefiting, but they're not so cute. They are voracious eaters. They have to eat 17% of their body weight a day. That's had no idea. Very cute though.
Yes, very cute. Okay, moving on to letter ABCD for CMSA ad hoc, the JPA member.
CMSA proper.
Oh, I'm sorry,
The ad
CMSA.
hoc.
Yeah, I'm moving
You want to
ahead.
say anything about the ad hoc?
Well, the ad hoc committee, we did meet and
We went ahead.
yeah, we did meet and actually we went over the final draft of the JPA and they decided to vote it out and give us 2 months. And we got the thing one day before our meeting. So I said, well, we may need more than 2 months. And they said, well, the schedule says 2 months. And I said, well, we'll do what we do. And that was about it. But anyway, the final draft contract was sent.
Excellent. Okay. Number 9, verbal report by general manager. Oops, I'm sorry.
CMSA.
I'm getting crazy now.
Okay. On CMSA, there was some confusion because we had the closed session, the previous meeting regarding general manager review and compensation. And this was that Brown Act says that has to be done at a regular meeting. And this was not a regular meeting. So they tried some stuff on the consent calendar to try and fudge it over to a regular meeting at the last minute. And Brandon said, don't do it. And so they completely took that item, which was the general manager's item 11 or something. They just took it off the agenda and they said, we'll do it next time. So that was that one. There was also an item on there where the general manager had wanted to do something above his spending authority so that he could get something done a couple weeks faster than waiting for the next board meeting. And so he took it upon himself with the board chair, Dean DiGiovanni, to approve an amount above the general manager's spending level. And there's a policy that says you can't do that. And so we had an item here that was going to change the policy. That's okay sometimes. Tom spoke up against it, and I voted for it after speaking against it, because Jason said it's only happened once in 20 some odd years. And he said, yeah, but it shouldn't happen ever. And that's why we have a policy. So it went ahead, but
4-1.
We'll see what happens. There'll be a lot of screaming and yelling. We gave ourselves a little teeny bit of a raise. The grit classifier replacement project, they were going to replace all of them, and they discovered that the way that they had been doing the study on it, that replacing the grit clarifiers, they didn't have the evidence that showed it was going to be significant. And so they went ahead and put that on hold also for the time being. And that was about it.
Can I, oh, pardon me.
Go ahead.
Can I ask Michael, what like, what was the value that Jason went over his, his approved
It was
spending limit, and what was his his justification was he needed it to get a better price. And yeah,
we actually approved the buying of the first two pre-purchasing, and the board agreed to it, and we would have agreed to it, and it wouldn't have been a problem, and it probably wouldn't have made a difference if it was 2 weeks later.
His limit is $75,000, and I think the thing was
85
something, but it actually was for San Quentin, and so San Quentin
was paying for it.
had approved the expenditure, and so they said, "Oh well, we'll just do it." So we said, "No, we've set policies, stick to the policy," And it was only a 2-week difference. It wasn't material.
I guess policies about spending limits for general manager and district managers don't have enforcement clauses or penalties or anything. They're just good governance.
Had they said, look, it doesn't, it's not going to be available in 2 weeks,
Right.
then okay, maybe you could make that point. But, we said,
if it's that important,
Yeah.
hold a special meeting.
Exactly. Right.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
can now do that entirely on Zoom, right? Like, isn't you? No. Okay.
I don't think so.
I thought maybe then there's a new thing about, oh no, it's providing telephonic access to public always, not everybody doing by Zoom. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Now I think it's the general manager's report.
Thank you. Secretary Meggs and board members, the 3 brief items. First, on the interpretive sign discussion, just a quick update. Now that the Corte Madera Creek project for flood control is complete and the dust is settling out there, and they're putting other signs that aren't the same kind of signs, but there's some signage going up. We've made some progress on a sign design that uses the Ross Valley Force Main System map as the basis, with a "You Are Here" symbol, next to the Kentfield pump station, and to discuss a little history and importance of the Kentfield pump station, which the viewer of the sign will be looking at. It conveying 2/3 of the flow of our whole entire system, and probably about 55% of the overall system, and that includes Corte Madera. So, Director Borstein had reached out and confirmed that the landowner, College of Marin, is okay with a sign and a bike maintenance station next to the bike path. So we're proceeding into this design stage now. And when we have designs to share, we'll convene the ad hoc interpretive sign committee and get feedback and direction at that point. So just letting you know that's going on.
you have a sign on there that says no river otters allowed.
I don't know if they can read, and they are out there, by the way. Second, on Tuesday, December 9th, we're having our end of the year party. Board members are invited to a lunch event. There'll be an invitation forthcoming, 12:30 start time on Tuesday, December 9th. Finally, I just wanted to note that Director Gaffney and I attended Novato's 100th anniversary. It was actually the Novato Sanitary District's 100th anniversary. It was a well-attended event with Supervisor Eric Lucan, Assemblymember Connolly, and State Senator Mike McGuire, as well as folks from Las Colinas and North Marin Water District. The remarks by all the speakers really highlighted the importance of the work of sanitary districts like ours. And it was interesting to learn that Novato Sanitary District, their incorporation actually happened before the city of Novato. And that was spoken to by the historians as a testament to how the community values the public health protection of sewer systems above other civic priorities. So that was an interesting story, that they had a sewer district before they had a city. Yeah. So at any rate, that's it for my report, and we can move on with the agenda.
Great, thank you.
Can I have a comment? We're actually mentioned in this.
Oh, yeah. If you, I forget which exact page, but we want to each have a commemorative copy because we were featured in this month's Special Districts magazine. Thanks for reminding me. for the award, the statewide award we won for public outreach.
Have we got all of them yet? What's left? I don't think.
Yep,
Okay.
now it's time for round two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Verbal report by board members and requests for future items. Yes, no?
None here.
Okay.
Done here.
Okay, great. Now we're moving on to the consent calendar. Anybody want to pull anything? I don't.
Michael and I discussed it yesterday. I moved the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now we're down to number 12. Authorize the general manager to notify recommended shortlist of residents to the Larkspur Landing developer. Oops, I think I just made a mistake. I think I was supposed to ask, is there anybody from the public for about the consent calendar? Is that right?
There's no.
Okay, never mind. Okay, moving on to notify recommended shortlist of respondents to the Larkspur Landing developer request for qualifications, RFQ, issued on August 4th, 2025, of their selection to receive and respond to a Larkspur Landing developer request for proposals, RFP. Okay, take it away.
All right, thank you. And we'll note the guests in the room, which include our project team and other interested parties in this item. And so I'll begin and make some remarks and discuss the process that was used. It's described in the staff report, but I can provide a little bit more insight. And also then I'll invite Bryant Sparkman to follow up with some additional remarks from Bryant Sparkman from Century Urban. I also would like to introduce Jerry Ramiza from Burke Williams Sorensen, who is our attorney representing us on the real estate matters. So you may recall meeting him recently, probably on Zoom, if I remember right. Welcome, everyone. Let me just begin by saying the RFQ process turned out to be more competitive than we anticipated, with 24 development teams expressing interest in partnering with RVSD to develop its property at 2000 Larkspur Landing Circle in Larkspur. We received 24 submittals for consideration to be invited on a short list of applicants to ultimately complete a disposition and development agreement known as a DDA for the property. This is an acronym you'll become familiar with going forward, the DDA, very important. At one of our team meetings, Bryant Sparkman noted that he said our goal would be 10 to 12 RFQ responses, and that would have been a home run. So 24 is more than 12. As described in the staff report, the process included a pre-RFQ submittal meeting and a site tour. We received 89 questions from respondents, and we provided written responses in advance of the submittal deadline of October 1st. And then we received the 24 submittals by October 1st. The district project team that reviewed these submittals included myself, Felicia, our assistant general manager, and Phil Benedetti, our senior engineer representing the district, along with support from Century Urban and Jerry Ramiza, our attorney with Burke Williams and Sorensen. And as I mentioned, you'll recall that Jerry was referred to us by former district counsel Andrea Clark based on his relevant experience, and he's been working with us for this past year and will be assisting the district with the important future task of the DDA with the selected developer. We evaluated and scored these submittals in accordance with the evaluation criteria indicated in the RFQ document, and it's an attachment to this item. The scoring system is indicated on page 20 of the RFQ. Respondents that attended the pre-RFQ meeting and the site tour were given extra points. Undoubtedly, most of the 24 respondents are well qualified to develop a property such as Larkspur Landing. In such a competitive group, we focused on the responsiveness of the submittals to the district and how attentive the respondents were to the unique characteristics and history of our site. How familiar were they with the circumstances at Larkspur Landing? We asked a number of questions about each submittal. How tailored is the submittal to the site and to the district? How much did the submittals reflect the district's process and priorities? How compatible were the submittals with the goals of the district, such as working cooperatively with the city of Larkspur on a mix of housing, including affordable housing, preserving open space, providing access to Pump Station 10, meeting surplus land requirements, and generating recurring revenue for the district's wastewater enterprise through sale or lease. We scored each of the submittals based on developer experience, including applicability of recent project case studies to the Larkspur Landing property. How close are the case studies to the Larkspur Landing site parameters and surrounding neighborhood? We evaluated scores and scored the relevant experience of the respondents. This was a highly weighted category. Does the respondent have a strong track record of working with public agencies to entitle and close on property acquisitions successfully? We evaluated the proposed project team members in each submittal based on their experience, especially working with public agencies. Factors that were considered include how long have they been working with the company? Did they provide evidence of their ability to address municipal and community concerns? What type of project experience and what Surplus Land Act experience do they have? We evaluated submittals based on their financial capacity and wherewithal. Is the respondent planning to fund entitlements and property acquisition from internal funds, or will they seek external funding to do so? The good news is that the 5 respondents that we're recommending are favorable on many of these points. They were responsive, compatible, and have good track records. They have relevant experience with public agencies and urban infill, some with the Surplus Lands Act. So they have well-qualified team members and strong financial capacity. I just want to say we're privileged and honored to have received the submittals from so many reputable firms and individuals. And we're pleased to recommend the 5 firms from which to solicit formal proposals to be development partners with RVSD. The 5 firms are indicated in the staff report in alphabetical order. They include Brookfield Residential / Carmel Partners, Related California, Shea Properties, Strata Investment Group, and Summerhill Apartment Communities and Homes / USA Properties Fund. The slash is usually the affordable housing partner. You know, there's the prime developer for market rate type housing and the partner for affordable. So if the board is comfortable moving forward as recommended at this time, staff will work with Century Urban to issue the RFP to the 5 recommended respondents. The RFP has been drafted, and we expect to be able to transmit it to the 5 shortlisted respondents in the next 2 weeks, with a proposal due date the last week of January 2026. We would then expect to conduct interviews in early February. The goal would be to recommend a selected developer at the regular board meeting on March 18th, 2026. That concludes my report, and please let me know if you have any questions or comments. As I said, Bryant Sparkman of Century Urban is also here, and I invite you to come up to the podium and provide a little insight into this process, and that will be available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Great. Well, good evening, board members. It's great to be here. It's great to see you all again, especially in these circumstances. I think, as many of you know, just by way of background, my name is Bryant Sparkman. I'm the president and managing principal at Century Urban. We've had the distinct honor and privilege of working with the district now for over 5 years.
5 years.
And time flies when you're having fun. I think we all know that. I'd like to just take the opportunity to also acknowledge my colleague, who I don't think you have met yet, whose name is Leo Ma, who's sitting right back here. Leo really leads our public-private partnership practice. So Leo is here today and has played a very important role behind the scenes. So if there are questions that come up, we may kind of direct them to Leo, but also great for you to also make his introduction. We'd also like to really thank and acknowledge the Ross Valley, you all, the board of directors, for your steady leadership and support over this 5-year period. This all evolved post-COVID into a process, and also with the general plan update and the Surplus Lands Act, to roughly a 5-year process. But we're now at a really special point in time to select various groups to proceed to the RFP. We'd also like to thank and acknowledge Jerry Ramiza, who's here with us today. Jerry is the real estate transaction counsel for the district with Burke, Williams, and Sorensen. Jerry's really been a valuable resource and will continue to be a very valuable resource as we advance the RFP and ultimately negotiate an exclusive negotiating agreement, in addition to a DDA, as GM Moore mentioned. And while it may go without saying, we believe Ross Valley Sanitary District and its board truly exemplifies excellence as California's oldest sewer district, with a clear mission to provide high quality wastewater collection at the lowest sustainable cost to protect public health and the environment. And this project, when monetized, meaning the value is created, will further that mission by generating long-term value for the district, with the intended goal of stabilizing service charges for its ratepayers. And this RFQ process has ensured full accountability and transparency to maximize public value and to select a developer whose vision, experience, and capabilities align with the district, the city, and the community's priorities for this best-of-class development site. By conducting a fair and open solicitation, Ross Valley seeks innovative, sustainable, experienced, and financially sound developers that will shape 2000 Larkspur Landing into a long-term asset through an open, competitive, and transparent process that is consistent with the city's objective design and development standards. In terms of process, Century Urban issued the RFQ in August of this year, 2025, to solicit qualifications from interested developers to complete entitlements for and to purchase the property for future residential development. As GM Moore mentioned, the interest far exceeded our original expectations. We received 24 RFQ responses. We had well north of 120 individuals attend the site tour. We received 89 written questions, and we had well over 100 people attend the virtual pre-RFQ conference. And what this speaks to is the extraordinarily rare opportunity to acquire one of the most coveted residential development sites in the North Bay, along with a strong desire to partner with Ross Valley Sanitary District. In terms of scoring, the RFQ responses were evaluated based on the submittal's presentation and completeness, as well as the developer's relevant experience, proposed project team, compatibility with Ross Valley policies and goals, and financial capacity. Ross Valley evaluated each RFQ submittal and assigned a score to each evaluation criteria based on the scoring methodology as outlined in the RFP. We are really excited and pleased to have 5 very exceptional and talented developers who we are recommending to proceed with. As GM Moore mentioned, I'll go through these names one more time in alphabetical order. It includes Carmel Partners in partnership with Brookfield Residential. It also includes Related California, in addition to Shea Properties, Strata Investment Group, and Summerhill Apartment Communities and Homes in partnership with USA Properties Fund. And on behalf of Ross Valley, Century Urban, let me take a step back. Because we had 24 respondents, that's a lot of RFQs to review, to score, and to go through the process. And 19 of those firms will likely not be moving forward with an RFP process. So we want to really sincerely thank and acknowledge all of the firms who committed resources and time as part of this process. And on behalf of Ross Valley Sanitary District, Century Urban has also agreed to set up one-on-one meetings with every one of the developer respondents who've requested feedback on their RFQ solicitation in order to provide transparency and accountability. And what are the next steps? Well, from a time perspective, the preliminary timeline, subject to change for the RFP process and next steps, include the RFP being issued in relative short order within the next likely 2 weeks. And the RFP responses will be due around the week of January 26th, with developer interviews taking place the week of February 9th. And the developer may ultimately be selected and approved by you all, the board, on February 9th. And in closing, we want to thank all of the firms again who have participated in this RFQ process, along with senior staff and the board for all of your support and guidance, as we are really pleased and excited to be moving this process forward to the next and final step, which is the RFP. That concludes my remarks. So thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. What about questions? Can we ask questions?
Can I just make a quick comment?
Sure.
On our board packet, it says the goal
will be to recommend a selected developer at the regular board meeting on March 18th, 2026. So a little discrepancy, but I think between what you just said and what's in the board packet.
Yeah, I apologize. March 18th is correct.
Okay.
So thank you.
Yeah.
And also what Steve said.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Do you expect to interview all 5? You don't have to necessarily, right?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think right now the intent is to interview all 5 developers to really make sure that they kind of square with the goals and objectives for the district, but also make sure compatibility, better understand financial wherewithal. And there's various questions that generally come up. So yes, the goal is to definitely interview all 5 of the development parties.
Okay. Other questions?
Very exciting.
I have one.
Comments from the public?
I have one. So on page 10, the subject property is where the paragraph starts. But all the way down, it says a maximum of 5 stories is permitted with the ability to increase to 7 stories with a bonus. Can you explain that? I don't remember seeing that before.
Yeah, you bet. So the city of Larkspur went through a fairly rigorous process on their own to really update the general plan, but specifically to focus on this particular site to meet all the RENA housing goals. As a part of that, they hired a third-party consultancy firm to really come up with the objective design and development standards, which we refer to as the odds. In those odds, they kind of looked at the building height. They looked at what the heights might look like under a density bonus scenario. And there's all kinds of various state density bonus laws. And the ODDS accounted for that. And so that's really the premise and the notion as to what that is meant to account for. To the extent there's a state density bonus that's afforded to this particular project.
And this is ministerial planning?
So because the site went through the general plan update, there was a CEQA study that was performed as a part of this particular project, in addition to the density, taking into consideration the shape and form vis-a-vis the odds. So the beauty of this particular site, and part of the reason we think there was so much interest in it, is because really, for the most part, this is a ministerial streamlining vis-a-vis CEQA. You still have to go through the city of Larkspur to design a project to make sure it's approved and permitted. But the hardest part historically in Marin County has been going through a CEQA process. So the district, through its land use council, effectively de-risked the project going through the general plan update, which has really been of great value to the district.
Well, that took about 3 years though, didn't it? So instead of the developer trying to figure it out for 3 years, the city did. Yeah.
I'll defer to GM more as well, because I do believe he's a CEQA expert, but we did go through the process. And that's why I think, generally speaking, what we're going to see is a very truncated timeline from developer selection through the DDA to close. So that's going to be reflected as we negotiate the DDA to make sure we're creating a long-term value and doing it quickly on behalf of the district.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to hang out and wait for a CEQA clearance to get the non-appealable EIR certified, because ultimately, based on what we're seeing, that has already taken place over that 3-year period that the city led.
Design. Who is responsible for design? Is it Larkspur? Is it us? What is?
There's a couple of ways to answer this question. The statutory body who's responsible for the design is the city of Larkspur. The developer will ultimately come up with the design subject to major decision approval rights in the disposition and development agreement. But Ross Valley Sanitary District, in terms of a formal approval on behalf of City of Larkspur, that will not happen. City of Larkspur will really kind of oversee and comment on the design, subject to a major decision approval on behalf of the district to submit that design to the City of Larkspur.
Anything else, anyone? Okay, I'm glad you're meeting with everybody. That's a good idea.
Thank you, Commissioner Mix. Appreciate it.
Would anybody else like to talk on it?
Yes. Anybody else would like to say something about this item?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Leanne Thomas with USA Properties Fund. We're one of the respondents to the RFQ in partnership with Summerhill Homes. Elaine Breeze is here today as well. I just wanted to say thank you to the RVSD and also to Century Urban. USA has worked on several SLA sites, and they don't all go like this. And it's been really nice because Century Urban responded to all the questions with great detail, allowing us to focus our submittal in a clear, concise way with an executable plan. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. That doesn't always happen. And in some of these public-private partnerships that USA has partnered on, there's a lot of education, like GM Moore said about the DDA. You know, those documents can get really intense, and there's a lot of lawyers going back and forth. And, you know, USA and Summerhill being able to provide that experience to the group, I think is really valuable. We're about to close in a few weeks with the city of Tustin on a 11-acre SLA site for 1,200 units. And so being part of the housing crisis and being able to provide workforce housing and mixed income housing at all different levels is a mission of ours. And we just really appreciate the opportunity. And I think that having USA as a partner who has executed on these type of deals before is of value in coming early with an affordable housing partner and setting up the design. The way we finance our programs is through the state tax credit program. So big corporations that need tax write-offs are our investors in the deals. those are complicated. And so having a group that says, this is what we can build, here's how we're going to do it quickly and, the most efficiently and make sure that we're not in an ongoing process. In the Tustin SLA site in particular, they had chosen a party in negotiations for a DDA for many years. They fell out. They came back and they called USA and our selected market rate partner, and we should be breaking ground in May. So, I think there's just a lot there when you're reviewing the options, and I'm very glad we were selected for the short list. And just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity, and thank you, Century Urban, for heading up the process.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? No? Anybody on Zoom?
There's no online public comment at this time.
Great, thank you. Okay, is this informational item or is there a motion? No, that's right.
Yeah, there is a staff
I'll
recommendation.
move that we authorize the general manager to notify the recommended short list of respondents to the Larkspur Landing developer RFQ of their selection to receive and respond to a Larkspur Landing developer RFP.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. We just made history.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep. Thanks everyone for attending the meeting. I really appreciate you being here.
Stay awake. Let's see what's left on here. Number 13, monthly operations and maintenance metrics report.
Yes, Paul Brummer is at the Cal Pellerer conference, so I'll cover him for him today and give you a couple of highlights. I just want to mention, go into the numbers a little bit. On board packet 78, we've set another historic record this last month, 2 months in a row.
Wow.
We first broke the plane of being less than 40% of the dry weather influent in September of 2025. And then we went down to 39% of influent flow to the treatment plant compared to our JPA partners. Last month, we set a new record. In October, we went to 38%.
Why do you think that happened?
Well, this year's been a very busy year on very laser focused I control projects, infiltration and inflow. And we talked about it at length last month, how many abandoned laterals that we're finding in these projects. So I think it's adding up. I think our intentional work to reduce infiltration inflow is having a measurable impact on the percent influent to the treatment plant compared to San Rafael and Corte Madera.
The issue with regard to testing is about strength. That doesn't play into this metric?
Yes, that's correct. It does not, the strength is flow times concentration, right? So it's a mass loading. So the flow plays a role in it. But in theory, if you're reducing the clean groundwater getting into your system, it's the same amount of strength mass that's going. And so you'll have higher concentrations of organic matter along with lower flow.
The strength, yeah.
Well, it's going to have a similar mass load, right? It's the same organic matter coming from the same houses, and businesses, and there's just less water carrying it. Yeah, so it's kind of independent. So that's the great news there. I want to highlight a performance metric on board packet 83, page 11. We did almost 50,000 gallons of sewer cleaning using recycled water last month. Our average is about 25 to 30,000. So our crews really set a high mark on use of recycled water. And as we talk about, when we use recycled water for sewer cleaning, we're offsetting the use of other, the potable water that comes from the Russian River or Mount Tam, and so we're benefiting the environment by using less potable water. And then I'll just kind of finish up with, we had some spills this last month, two of which were minor small gallon spills, but one of those small gallon spills did get into the creek. It was right by Sleepy Hollow Creek, where there's a single pipe siphon. And it was good for us. We had cleaned it on its regular schedule, but it was good for us to sort of take another look at this. We've got a smart cover out there now, and we might think of making a standard double siphon at that location. So, and then we had an unfortunate incident where PG&E was excavating in a trench, and our sewer pipe was exposed, and there was a point repair that had failed and surcharged that pipe. So by them excavating, it let that surcharge water out, and it wasn't very much, but it was technically a spill. So this is one of those things that wouldn't have happened had it not been for the actions of others. But finally, we did learn a bit of a lesson on a large dry weather spill at 965 Magnolia Avenue. It was about 8,000 gallons. The reason why it was so much is it was over a period of several days, and folks just didn't know to call us. We've had this issue before. Even the fire department didn't know to call us. So we're going to do some outreach to them, maybe have them come to this room and do a business breakfast, and and talk about how to spot a sewer spill and what it looks like. And in this case, I also am having staff look a little harder at lines that you think we would be able to camera the whole system, right? After all these years, 12 years or so, cameraing about 15% of the system a year, doing CCTV. But sometimes the camera doesn't make it all the way between the manholes. And this was one of those cases where it's an old Larkspur sewer. So we always like to pass the buck with them because we inherited their system in 1993. And it was a cast iron connected to a clay, and it had come apart, so with no manhole in between. So it's a very poor connection. And our camera historically hadn't been able to get through this offset. So we didn't have the same type of data as we do in a lot of our other parts of our system. So I'm having staff review our system for those type of lines where we weren't able to traverse the entire length, and to do a hard look at where we may need to do more preventive work. Go ahead. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it gets stuck, because it has wheels. It's like a little robot with wheels, and then it gets stuck. It can't get over some, jumbled where you have a cast iron pipe, a big hole and dirt, and then the clay pipe. So it's off-roading. They're not good at off-roading.
Can it back up?
What's that?
Can it go in reverse, or they just pull it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So expensive equipment too. I mean, that's part of our maintenance cost is, it's delicate. I mean, they're trying to make it rugged, but if we get stuck in situations like that, sometimes we damage the equipment. So some lessons learned here, and outreach being done. There's a lot of grease. So there's an apartment building there, a lot of units. So we did some outreach to them. So, in any spill situation, we want to be thorough in our post-spill activities. There's a short-term approach. We did repair the hole. We got the repair crew out there. Difficult place to work in Magnolia. It's a busy street. The guys did a great job. That's a short term, and then in the long term, we will replace and upsize that pipe. But it's just not going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. So Magnolia, 965 Magnolia, near Murray Park. So yeah, that's a little bit of the story. Any other questions about that, or? But yeah, we're. Any questions about some of the activities of the cruise, or no? Okay. So with that, I think that concludes my metrics update. Some good news, some not so good news.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to item 13B. Felicia, is this yours?
Yes, thank you, Director Meggs. I didn't actually have any prepared comments. This is really just an information item for the board. The thing that I would like to just point out is that the California Special Districts Association does invite members of the association who are interested in learning more about the Brown Act
changes via SB 707 to attend, I think it's December 10th. Yeah, December 10th webinar. So that information is listed in your agenda packet. And I think, yeah, beyond that, the memo, covers the general overview of the updates that will go into effect in January and in July of next year. Happy to answer any questions, and thank Austin for his help on this report as well.
I don't have any. Anybody?
No.
Okay. So last is 13C. This is a featured award by the North Bay Watershed. And they sent it out to all their members. It's almost 400 different people and agencies, this award. So we are taking over. Anyway, it was very nice, really wonderful, great presentation. I'm very surprised at the meeting. So, and actually it's 4 counties: Solano, Napa, Marin. Michael, help me. What's the last one? There's 4 counties. Sonoma. Yeah. And so that's it for me. Anybody else? Any last?
Well, that big article in the special districts report is right on the middle.
Wow.
And it's about our trash it, don't flush it.
Congratulations to staff for that.
Yeah, that was it's one of those things where we found something and had a, kind of a creative multi-pronged approach to address it. Some shoe leather, some walking the streets to knock on doors and put door hangers out and talk to business owners. But we also used digital advertising to reach workers. So they would get advertisements on their phones, at medical facilities, places that were sources of gloves. And so, it was just an interesting approach, but a lot of creativity at a lot of levels at our organization. But yeah, trash it, don't flush it. That was mine. Because it was like a lyric in a song that I wrote back in the 90s.
Pam, if I can have 15 more seconds.
Yes.
Tom and I recently went over to the old Kerner building, and originally the intent over there was to keep their current building across the street and the Kerner building and gently move over slowly, while in the meantime doing some upgrading to the old headquarters over there. And they got the keys to the new building and said, screw it, let's move in. And they repainted everything and gave notice at the old building, so they're not paying rent on the old building anymore. And I'd highly recommend anybody who wants to just to walk over or drive over there and introduce yourself. They'd love to show you around. Especially amazing is when you walk in the front office, where there was that large desk in the front there for people to come to, is all completely gone. And that front office there is now used as their main rehearsal hall. And it looks incredible. They painted everything stem to stern, and it looks lovely.
And the manager spotted us, and he knew Michael, but he remembered my name and took us on a tour of the whole building. It really is fabulous. Yeah. I have, if you go there and tell them, they think we're heroes because they paid a lot for that building, but what can I say?
Dennis Gillard.
Yes.
All right, our next meeting is
Yes, December something.
December
17th.
17th.
Yeah, and I just want to end that Doug and I completed the Special District Leadership Academy. Woohoo. Woohoo. 2.5 days. I recommend. I mean, it's really an amazing academy. I did it 10 or 15 years ago, but it's about 100 of us, and it was fabulous. So that's it.
All right. Thank you, board members. Thanks, everyone.